show. Hi, hello, thank you, and welcome to Cat Calls. I am Cat Bine. I am a music and culture journalist and a contributor at Spin. And twice a month, I come and take over Spin's Twitch channel to bring this program, Cat Calls, where I talk to cool artists about whatever the hell we want. You are in on it too. If you have questions for today's guest, you can drop them in the chat and I will make sure that we bring them to Elderbrook. Elderbrook is the guest. And if you like the program, you can always follow me on my channel, twitch.tv/catbine. K-A-T the way it's spelled in the corner, B as in boy, E-I-N. Yes, thank you. I do the show every Thursday, sometimes Tuesdays. I don't know. I'm deciding. It's like, how many times can I do this in 1 week without absolutely losing my mind? I'm clearly close to the edge, as is. Rye Guy says, thank you for noticing my beautiful hair. I dyed my roots myself. I don't know. It's maybe a little scary. It was my first time. Everyone, I welcome you. And today's guest, as I already said, is UK producer, singer, and songwriter Elderbrook. Yay, everybody clap your hands for Elderbrook. You know, what I really like about Elderbrook is that he has a sound that doesn't stick to just one thing. He's got a deep, rich sound and style that I attribute to his eclectic taste and musical background. You know, he started off as a teenager in an indie band, and then when he was in college age, he went like full acoustic folk singer-songwriter, and he even dabbled in hip-hop and soul singing a little bit when he first started the Elderbrook project. But of course, what everyone knows him for is his dreamlike garage housey vibes, and he broke into the mainstream with the song Cola, which was a collaboration with Camel Fat in 2017. If you haven't heard that song, then you didn't go out clubbing in 2017 because it was everywhere, and it was actually nominated for a Grammy in 2018 for Best Dance Recording. He didn't win it. Diplo won it. Fuck Diplo. But anyways, that was 3 years ago, and he's since evolved his sound to a higher level that brings every part of himself into the recordings. He's got a debut album coming out, Why Do We Shake in the Cold, and that is coming in August. It's poppy, it's got somber moments, it's soft, it's elegant, it makes you want to get up out of your seat and dance. And some of the singles are already out now. My House is one of my favorites. As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my god, I love this song. And bloop bloop, he made a music video in Beijing where he got together with these influencers, and it's really funny, it's really heartwarming. It kind of made me cry, like, when I watched it, but I'm gonna get my period soon, so I think it might have something to do with that. Anyway, you don't have to take my word for it. You can watch it yourself. We're gonna watch it together right now. Arvin, my Twitch is K-A-T, B as in boy, E-I-N. I would love to see you over there on my channel, but I'm gonna stop word vomiting now, and I'm gonna play My House for you guys. And don't forget to throw your questions in the chat for Elderbrook. We will get to them in the second part of the program, but you don't have to wait. If you have like an idea, just shout it out. All right, love you guys. Let's watch this video. Just kidding, we're not watching My House. We're watching Numb. We're gonna watch My House later. We're watching Numb right now. It is another single off of Why Do We Shake in the Cold though, and it also has a really fun music video. I'm not gonna give it away. You just have to watch for yourself. Watch. Were you guys dancing along to the video? I love that video, the way that they like see each other and just start copying each other. I kind of wish that that would happen to me. Like, maybe one of my friends will just do it with me and we can pretend that we're strangers. Anyway, if you guys are ready, I have Elderbrook. Elderbrook is here. Elderbrook, say hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing so well, and I'm so excited that your energy is actually matching mine, because I know that I can be like 11.
Exactly. I mean, it's a Saturday night here at 7:15 p.m. So
yes, that's right. Do you live in London, or where are you calling us from?
I live just outside London, like a half an hour train into London, kind of suburbs, but it allows me to have this beautiful little cabin in the bottom of my garden where I can make my music.
Yes, actually, I heard that you have been doing quite a bit of writing. Some of the songs on Why Do We Shake in the Cold were actually written in quarantine.
Yeah, fully in quarantine. It was a weird experience. I mean, I'm sure much like yourself and other people watching, there's a lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah, we're on one right now.
Which we're on right now, which is amazing. But yeah, a lot of Zoom calls. And it was weird writing with someone.
Oh, wow.
Vibe out a song in the room.
Yeah.
When we're all in different rooms.
Was Numb one of the songs that you wrote in quarantine?
No, Numb was kind of, I wrote that maybe a year ago. I was on tour in the States.
Okay.
And yeah, I was doing South by Southwest. And when people go and do South by Southwest, it's not like any other festival. It's like you do 10 shows in one day. It's loads of different people in loads of different places.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of thought of the lyrics there because the whole song's about loneliness, missing someone, not having someone. So I kind of thought of the idea when I was out there by myself, playing all these shows and kind of missing home a little bit. So yeah, that's where the idea for that song came about. I
like that. What about this video? Like I was saying, I love the concept of this video, and I kind of wish that would happen to me out in the streets. Did you have a big hand in the treatment for that one?
Yeah, so basically when we were figuring out the video, the whole aspect of loneliness was so important to me. Like I said, that's what the whole song was about. So kind of what I think this video does really well is that obviously this woman dancing on the street is alone, she's by herself, but then there's someone else that comes and dances with her. So that kind of, to me, symbolized the fact that you're lonely, other people are lonely, but if we're all lonely together, then, I don't know, there was something really beautiful about that.
Yeah, and strangely prophetic for the quarantine experience, actually.
I know, that was pre-lockdown as well, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. But
I'm not saying that it was my fault that it happened. But
you did this! You did this! Before we get more into the album, Arvin Beats says that you are very talented and you have a heavenly voice, and I wanted you to get that compliment.
That's extremely lovely. Thank you so much.
So I have to agree, and I love that your album, Why Do We Shake in the Cold, doesn't shy away from being a collection of songs. You know, it's not just a bunch of house tracks that you made for the dance floor. You really let your indie roots shine through, and I, as a listener, appreciate that. Congratulations on it's your debut album, so that's huge. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about why, for your debut album, that seemed like the right route to take?
Yeah, I guess so. Basically, about 3 years ago, 2017, I had this massive song Cola with Camel Fat, which was nominated for a Grammy, got this and that. Exactly. So that really kind of took me to another level, which obviously I'm so grateful for. And I kind of went down the electronic path a little bit, kind of did more techno-y stuff, harder stuff. But my roots are in like indie music. So growing up, I loved Kings of Leon, The Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, stuff like that. So when I was 16, I was in a band. We tried to sound like Kings of Leon. We didn't sound like Kings of Leon.
like Taper Jean Girl, Kings of Leon, where you're almost unintelligible.
The first 3 albums is what we kind of wanted to base ourselves on. So yeah, I have all these roots in like raw, organic indie music, and so I kind of went down the electronic route. But like you said with this album, I wanted to kind of explore the stuff that I was loving growing up and kind of meld that together with my newfound love of electronic music and the dance floor bangers. Yeah,
totally. I mean, it definitely still gets you up and moving and grooving, but there's lots of beautiful soft moments to it as well. It's a good collage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure much like yourself, you don't listen to one genre of music. So for me, I never wanted the album to be a load of songs sounding exactly the same, because I have so many different influences from 1920s gospel music to like intense techno. So I mean, I love so many different things that I didn't want to leave any out on this album.
What is a 1920s gospel song that we should check out?
I don't know if it's 1920s, to be fair. It's a little bit later.
Okay. It just feels like it.
So Sam Cooke, before he was Sam Cooke, was in the Soul Stirrers. Wow. And they're an amazing gospel a cappella group from way back when that kind of used to tour the country, church to church, doing these amazing a cappella voices. And I love a cappella music. So go and search that out. It's called Soul Stirrers.
Wow, starers, like they're staring into your soul, like
no, they're like stirring a pot of goodness.
Oh, stirrers. Okay, that was my American accent missing your English accent.
That was my stupid English accent.
No. Yours came first. It's okay. I actually also would love to talk about the story behind the title. It's more about the answer to the question, why do we shake in the cold? So
yeah, so it's kind of a weird title, and I guess the whole album is about people needing people, human interaction, and all the different aspects of that. And I think so. One of the songs is called "Why Do We Shake in the Cold," and it was kind of based around the idea that we shake in the cold to let other people know that we need them close to warm us up, and it kind of goes in with mental health, saying you show your sadness to let other people know you're sad and that you need them close, and that is, I guess, why we shake in the cold, maybe.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I don't know if the scientific research is that.
I think it's something to do more with warming yourself up by the rapid movements, but it's the idea that, yeah.
No, I love it. When did you start in on this project? Is it something that began pretty recently? I mean, it's crazy to me that you were still finishing it only a few months ago, because sometimes artists finish things and it sits there for months and a year and whatever, and then by the time it comes out, they've moved on.
I know, exactly. But I mean, so this is my debut album, so it's the accumulation of everything I've ever done up until this point in one nifty package, and and yeah, this is, like I said, there's some songs on there that are maybe a year old, maybe even a year and a half old. But yeah, this song, my latest single, My House, was written completely in lockdown, which kind of did seem a while ago, but I guess, I don't know, different all over the world. But
it definitely was a lifetime ago. I don't even know.
I grew up with lovely locks in lockdown as well, but yeah, but it's an accumulation of so much stuff, and yeah, some of it's super new, some of it's a little bit older.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about My House. That's a song that when I heard it, I was just like, yeah, done, love it. Play this again, play again. And I think it's okay. I hear a little bit of Empire of the Sun in that chorus. Are you a fan of them?
I am a massive fan. I've actually worked with Nick Littlemore, who is part of Empire of the Sun.
Really?
He had me write Sleepwalking, which I released maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So we've worked together before. I'm a massive fan, obviously. And that kind of really sums up what I wanted to do with it. So obviously, they're very indie. But there's like a hint of electronic in there, which is kind of where I'm at right now, what I'm going for.
Why don't what inspired My House in particular? I know there's kind of a fun story with your garden or something.
I guess it was written in lockdown, and listen, I'm in the back of my garden in my little cabin. Well, it's a shed. I call it a cabin, which
it's a shed.
And just out that window, I don't know if I can show you right now. Anyway, out that window is my house. So I was like, what am I going to write about this long? I looked out the window, I was like, my house. And then it kind of went from there. And I thought it was going to be like a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young kind of thing. You know, our house is a very, very, very fine house. I thought I was going to go in that direction, but it ended up being more of a social commentary on want culture and people wanting a big house and people saying my house is better than your house and getting something that you love and then getting bored of it and moving on to something else, and kind of why you just don't need to worry about that, and that if you kind of leave that life behind, you can be a lot more happy.
Yeah. I love the music video as well. I actually have it queued up to play. So we can do that in a moment here since you already brought it up. But talk to me about the music video itself. It's so funny, but it's also like got a beautiful message. I like that it has a happy ending.
Yeah. Well, I guess, like I said, the song is about wanting more, never being satisfied, and how that's damaging. And the video was shot in Shanghai during lockdown.
Oh, I said Beijing, I think. But Shanghai. Okay, sorry. Shanghai.
I'm supposed to make me feel. Anyway, and then it was shot in China, and they it's all about this guy that wants to. Well, he sells hats for a living on the streets on this little moped, and he keeps on getting like more hats and more hats and more hats, and he tries to make all this money, but he goes to try and play a traditional Chinese game, which I thought the name of, with a bunch of his people that do the same kind of job, and then they're like, "No, man, like you're thinking too much about work and stuff. We don't really like you anymore." And so it kind of makes this guy think about what he's doing with his life, what's important, and yeah, it definitely sums up what I wanted the song to be about.
Cool. Have you been to China? Were you at all part of the filming?
I've never been. It's really far away.
It is quite far. That is true.
Exactly.
And I also heard they have some like interesting DJs are very popular there because they can't play music that's like too nothing with like violent or drug related or like overtly sexual lyrics. And so dance music dance music is very popular because there's not a lot of words.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, to be fair, in dance music, when there are words, they can be very explicit.
That's true. That's very true. But the words to my house they're deeper than that. It's not just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, people. Okay, let's watch the video real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll answer some more questions with Elderbrook. Stay tuned. Hey, star. I just want the best car. And we're back. All right. You're kind of a dancer yourself. You've got some great moves. As I was telling you on stage, can you do that dance? Do you ever do choreography?
So basically, my style of dancing is very much not choreographed. It's more
feel it.
Just making my hips in weird and wonderful ways. I'm gonna have to do it now, aren't I?
Do it.
Like that.
Yes.
Like that. A little bit of shimmy. Yeah. I can't believe we just did that.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's what makes this show special. We get everyone to dance. So I want to talk a little bit more about Why Do We Shake in the Cold before we open up to a couple questions from the chat. And you, you mentioned to me just now in the off time that you've got some Scottish in your family. Next December, the closing track on the album, it kind of sounds like a Scottish dirge. Like the synth could be like a bagpipe just continuously playing on.
I actually love that you said that because I mean the album's not out yet, so
right.
People will have
everyone
to wait
file that away. Yeah.
But the last track, I'm actually so happy you said that. The last track on the album is there's a long drone, a lot like a bagpipe, and it's a very, very folky. It's kind of going back to the music I kind of loved. Like I said, I didn't want the album just to be like electronic bangers. Don't get me wrong, there's some bangers in there. But there is some very heartfelt folky moments apparently with electronic twist.
That's cool. You had, I read in an interview that you once did a kind of very acoustic folk singer-songwriter period in your career before starting Elderbrook. Well, was there any like embarrassing lyrics or like, were you like so serious about it or like?
Oh yeah, like, don't laugh at me. Yeah, no, I wasn't.
I mean, I don't know what it was, but when I think that sometimes, like, especially as a 19-year-old,
Before I started choosing the name Elderbrook and going down the electronic path, I was very much trying to be like Mumford Sons kind of sound, Johnny Flynn, Laura Marling, all of those guys, and I still absolutely love that music, but I wouldn't say any of the lyrics are embarrassing. Thank you very much.
No, I'm sorry that I even.
But now I'm trying to think back. and I'm going to be honest. I think I took a lot of the lyrics from then and put them into my new electronic songs. So, like my very early electronic music, I was like, what do people in the electronic world sing about? So I kind of just took a lot of those lyrics and put them in with the electronic sound.
I like that though. I mean, I personally enjoy a well-crafted lyric, and I think some house music, it's so Like, I've always thought it would be funny to try to make people guess between, like, is this a house music or a trance music lyric, and is this a Hallmark card? Like, can you tell the difference?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And I think, yeah, that's what I always wanted to do when I first started making music, kind of do something different. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're not bringing something different to the table, what's the point? So, yeah, I kind of wanted to bring actual real songs and meaning and life back into the kind of world, you know, which I didn't really know much about when I was.
Yeah, how did you get introduced to it? I mean, there's part of me that just assumes every Brit is like raised on dance music somehow, but I guess that's not necessarily true.
I definitely know what you mean, and I think, yeah, like I said, I was listening to very folky, chilled out indie music for my life until I went to a club. And
what club?
Yeah. Well, I went to university near Bristol in the UK, and there's a lot of very, very cool clubs there, which, yeah, and I think when I was at university, I went to these clubs, did club stuff, and then went kind of
did club
dancing
stuff?
all night. Yeah, I don't know. And that's when I actually heard this electronic music, and then before that, I was like, oh, I'm not really into it. Like, I was into the indie stuff, but then it's all contextual, and once I was in the right context, I was able to understand why this music exists and why it's so like amazing and how it brings people together. So yeah, after that, I went home and I tried to recreate it.
Oh wow!
But I kind of know what I was doing, so I think that's why in the very early stages came up with this really weird sound because, quite frankly, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was trying to emulate what I heard, and what came back out was like a half indie, quarter folk, quarter dance, whatever, and yeah, I kind of just went from there.
That's the best way, though. I mean, there is something nice about trying to understand how someone does a certain thing and learning that, but it's like the weird experiments that come out from not exactly knowing all the rules is just as exciting.
Exactly. Like, and it's the weird, like, it's the mistakes that really make weird and wonderful things. Like, I remember one time I was, again, at university, and I was recording these lyrics, and I knocked a drink over. It went all over my laptop. Luckily, it was absolutely fine, but I was recording, so I listened back, and it was like me swearing profanities all over the place, but there was a really cool sound of the glass hitting the laptop, and I used that as a snare in like 5 different songs. So.
Oh, that's amazing!
Yeah. I
actually heard that you once recorded ice crackling in your hot coffee.
I did.
Yeah.
I did that. That was also one of my many musical experiments. Like, and also, right, so I was making coffee in the morning. It was too hot. I don't like hot coffee. I mean, you live on the West Coast, you know, you don't drink hot coffee.
Yeah.
But
it's too hot already.
I was putting ice in it to cool it down before I realised you just put cold water in it. But anyway, I was putting ice in it, and I thought, and when you put ice in really hot water, like, it does all these crackles and snaps that are really unpredictable. So, a little voice memo on my phone, sent it over to my laptop, and yeah, I think I used that in one of my first ever releases called Could.
Oh, cool! Could. I love that song. Are there any interesting, weird little samples that made it into this album that you can tell us about?
I'm absolutely sure that there are. I mean, I spent a lot of time kind of finishing off. Do you know what? A good one. One of the ones that you said sounded like a Scottish folk song, Next December. And the interesting thing about that song is I was kind of staying in LA with a producer I was working with. We're both from the UK, but we thought, you know what, let's just go to LA because it's sunny out there. We ended up there for like a month, like refining the album and working on the songs. And last minute, I had the lyrics to this song on my phone for absolutely ages. I was like, I want to put this down, so I put the drone there and went over. But in the background, you can actually hear my fiance and Jake, the producer, kind of making dinner in the background. So there's all these like clicks and snaps and pans and pots and pans and stuff. And yeah, they're in the background, kind of just cooking away, talking to each other. If you listen really carefully, you can definitely hear it.
Okay,
but, yeah,
I will do that.
There's lots of weird stuff like that.
I love that. I like that type of atmosphere too. Like when you say little clicks in that, it almost makes me think of like when you listen to a record on vinyl and it just has all those little pops.
Exactly. Yeah, because so much of music now is so refined and clean, and yeah, I think a lot of people really love the atmosphere of something a bit different and a bit, I don't know, off the cuff in a way.
Mm-hmm. All right, that actually leads us to one of the questions I saw in here. EFK 120, FK 20, I don't know.
120.
EFK 120 wants to know if you worked with any other producers on the album. So you did just mention your friend Jake. Anyone else?
Yeah, well, Jake is part of the DJ duo called Blonde.
Okay.
And they've released songs like "I'm all cried out," stuff like that. Who else? I've worked a lot with Diplo and people like that. So I don't know if any of that quite made it to the album, but yeah, a lot of it was, like I said, just accumulative over the last year or so. So there's bits and pieces from different songs that I've done a lot with. Yeah. But again, like I said earlier, I worked with Nick Littlemore from Empire of the Sun, and that song's already out. It's called Sleepwalking. But yeah, I've kind of noticed that collaborative work you get so much more done. Like, because you go and meet someone for a day, like, let's make a tune, and by the end of the day, you've got a tune. When it's you by yourself, you're like, does this sound right? What do I do? What am I doing? Why am I even here? And you kind of get inside your own head. But yeah, collaborative work is big up there for me.
Yeah, someone to bounce and pull you back up out of the weird pit of like, I don't even know what this sounds like anymore. I've been listening to these 4 bars for 5 hours. Is there anyone that you would really like to work with? Nick Little is a big one. Are there any other from maybe your old indie days that if you could just get the Arctic Monkeys in a booth with you would do it?
So I absolutely, growing up, loved the XX, and the first ever album that I really heard, I was like, oh my god, music can be like this, was the XX. So I'd absolutely love to work with Jamie XX.
Oh my god.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
It's a good fit.
And I also I bet you'd learn some crazy shit too. I mean, he seems like he likes to experiment as well.
Exactly. So I think, that would definitely be up there for me.
How do you deal with musical blocks? Arvin's asking this one.
I think the best way, and everyone experiences it, is to get on with it. So, for example, with me, if I'm really not feeling it, I'm kind of just kind of getting in my own head, not in there, focusing on just something else. If you set aside time, for me anyway, when I come into my little music space here, 5 minutes of forcing, I'm just in there and I'm like, I've got ideas, and it gets the ideas flowing. So I don't think that's just music as well. It would be writing or film editing, stuff like that. I'm like, whatever it is, not even that, just anything.
Exercising, just like, I don't want to do it as soon as you start.
2 seconds in, you're like, okay, I'm there, I'm exercising, I'm there, I'm doing this, doing that, and then you kind of just get into it. So as long as you force yourself, knowing that you will get into it, then you're there.
You just have to start. It's the hardest part. And that's the advice you don't want to hear when you're in that position too.
Do it, you lazy man.
It's true. And any tips for mixing? Do you mix your music? I guess they're talking about engineering mixing. I guess they would say DJing if they were talking about
DJing, not so sure about, but mixing an actual track would be, for me anyway, just leaving it, go and do something else, and then listen from the beginning again. Almost try and do something else while you're listening, because let's face it, as much as I love my music, people often are listening in the background. So if you have the song on in the background while you're kind of doing something else, whatever it is, like cleaning up the studio, I might have to do that if you're looking around, but or anything you want to do, listening in the background, then you'll really hear the things that aren't making sense. Because more often than not, it's done. Like it's finished.
Yeah. That's what I think is so crazy too. Like, music is such a subjective process. It's not like, well, I finished the painting because this is what I was going for. Although I'm sure with paintings you could just forever and ever go. But like music, it's like, it's done now.
Yeah, exactly. It could be done from 5 minutes in. It could be done 5 years later. Who knows?
When you first got on the phone with me here, before everyone could see, you did have a banjo. I'm wondering what other fun things you have in this magical studio where you're
In
taking
my
your
magical
call.
studio, well, I've got my little banjo. What else have I got? Oh, I've got some weird stuff in here, actually. Alright. I've got my mandolin.
Ooh!
Everyone in the UK has mandolins, by the way.
Really?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, mandolin.
Oh, shit! I hope everyone could hear that because it was tight.
In it. Right, are you ready for the big one, then?
Yes. I'm doing it.
Hold on.
There's a drum roll. Yes!
And I'm yet to learn how to play this, by the way.
Well, you know, an accordion is kind of like a bagpipe. It has a bladder.
You know what? Accordion's actually super easy because you've got these buttons that do the chords for you. So you just go like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you're just hitting like one thing. You're not even.
Literally, if you find the right 3 buttons, you can play accordion. I'm sorry to all those accordion players out there. I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, really just like blew the air out of Weird Al's balloon there.
But yeah, I mean, that's it. What else do I have? Not much else really. Just like guitars, my shoes on the floor.
Okay. I'm going to. This one's really long. I'm trying to see. It's not really a question.
Okay.
Let's read it anyway. It's like a poem. It's not really a poem.
I love it.
Let's read it like it's a poem. Gamer James says, music was the first consistent source of joy that I had in life where I realized there was this phenomenon, this thing. It wasn't a person, it wasn't a place, it wasn't even necessarily an activity. It was just experience, the sound of these melodies and rhythms that could change the way I felt and make life feel better, and not in a wispy, kind of subtle way, in a very intense, instant way, and it would do it every single time. Nothing else in my life then or since has been that consistent.
Wow. Well, I'm super happy for you. And yeah, I think a lot of people would feel the same way. Like it can be a very intense thing. Like I was saying earlier, it can be in the background, kind of whatever, but also it can be very, very intense and really change who you are as a person all the time.
When did you fall in love with music? Is there like a moment that you remember becoming obsessed with it, or?
It's more that I fell in love with writing songs. I always wanted to write songs. So I think as soon as I got a guitar, and do you know what made me get a guitar? Do you remember the thing on Nickelodeon or Disney or something? It was Drake and Josh.
Yeah!
So basically, right, there I was, a wide-eyed 10-year-old or whatever, watching Drake and Josh. And this guy, Drake, had this guitar, and I was like, this guy seems pretty cool. Like, he's got long hair, playing guitar, he's getting all the girls. Maybe I should play guitar and then I'll be happy. So I got this guitar and I learned all the chords and stuff. I was like, do you know what? It's cool learning other people's songs, but I always just wanted to write my own. So as soon as I could, like, do 3 chords, I was kind of writing these songs and wanting to be a songwriter.
That's
so
so
I always
cool.
knew I could sing and stuff, but I really. Yeah, Drake and Josh, man.
Wow, shout out. I can't remember now if that was a Nickelodeon or a Disney show. I feel like it was
I
a
think
Disney.
it's Nick, man.
Nick?
Because it's a little bit more edgy.
Oh, true. That's how you can tell.
Yeah.
Disney keeps it a little rounded.
Yeah, but also Disney, love what you're doing. I know you're listening right now.
Oh, yes, for sure. This one takes it back a little bit. How long did it take to make Cola? Or what's the story behind Cola? And I'm personally interested to hear what it was like from your perspective for that song to kind of take off in the way that it did.
Yeah, so Cola 3 years ago obviously went massive, but when we wrote it in the same room. So Camelback, who I did it with, came down from the north of England. I don't know if you've ever heard them speak. They, you can hear that they come from the north of England.
Yeah.
Anyway, we came down and they were looking for singers for, I guess, their next releases or whatever. And I was like, yeah, go on, like, let's give it a go, see what we can do. And I think in 3 hours we wrote 3 different songs.
Oh wow!
One of them was Cola because they already had the instrumentals and stuff. So they came down and we wrote Cola in like 3 hours. And I was like, okay, cool, bye. Because at that time, I was doing so much music writing with so many different people that kind of just another session that I went in there, wrote a song, and left kind of thing. 3 months later, they said the Defected Records want to sign it. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, great, let's put it out, see what happens. And I don't know, it was like a techno song. I don't really know much about techno music, so they put it out, and it kind of bubbled away, and then all of a sudden it kind of just got massive out of nowhere. And
yeah,
like
when did you realize it was getting really big? Like, what was like the moment where you said, "This is getting a little"?
I think it's when I heard it driving in my car, because I mean, I've heard myself on the radio a couple of times, but like I always knew I was going to get played. Like the DJs would be, "We're going to play this at this time," so whatever.
Oh,
and
that's
great.
cute. They
this was
let
the
you
first time
know.
where I was just driving along in my car, and bam, man, it comes on the radio. It's like, what? I didn't even know. People must really like this shit. And so,
yeah,
I guess that was the moment where I knew.
Where were you when you found out it was nominated for a Grammy?
I was actually with my manager in North London in a place called Camden, where I lived, I think, at the time. And yeah, he was like, "You've just been nominated for a Grammy." What? Because we really weren't expecting it. Like we didn't know it was even a possibility. We weren't edging for it. We weren't asking people or whatever. But yeah, I kind of found out. And I didn't really realize how much of a big deal it was when I found out. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, whatever, man."
Yeah.
But then people were coming up to me, like friends of mine from back in the day, or people I know, and they're saying, "Oh my god, you've been nominated." It's like, yeah, like, and then I kind of started to realize, like, wow, this is a massive deal. Like, it's the actual Grammys. So, yeah, although I didn't snag the win.
I know. I was gonna say, is that how you met Diplo?
Pardon?
Is that how you met Diplo? Because I think his Silk City jam is what actually beat you out.
Really? Well. No, me and Diplo was completely different. I was just in LA at the time because I like to go out there because it's sunny.
Yeah,
and marijuana is legal. But
yes,
I like to go out there and write music. And yeah, anyway, I was on one of my trips, and yeah, I kind of checked my inbox, and it's from Diplo with the little blue tick. I was like, "Shut up! This isn't Diplo. You're not messaging me." But it was, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I'm not going to do the accent." He was like, "Hey, dude, are you in LA? Let's write some music." And I was like, "I am in LA. Let's do it because you're Diplo and I'm not." So and we went in, and yeah, we've been writing a bit together ever since. Really, whenever I'm in town or whenever he's over here.
That's so cool. Has any of it ever come out? Do you think we might one day hear some of these collaborations?
You might, but I don't know. There's yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens with what we've done.
What about Trishan Twitch wants to know how you got together with the Rudimental guys.
So the Rudimental guys, when I first came into music, there's a label called Black Butter, which I released everything on. And I was just like 20 years old at the time, like trying to get into the music industry, and they picked up my first record, my first EP. So I released with them, but their other act on the label was Rudimental, who obviously like I knew about, like you just know who they are. And I was like, wow, one day I'm going to be like Rudimental, and that was back in 2000. That was like 5 years ago. So I've known them since then. They just won. I went to the Brits as one of the first things that that label kind of helped me out with. It was like, "Oh, come to the Brits, like come and come to this award ceremony and have fun with high flyers." And so I did. And I ended up sitting with Rudimental and going back to their studio with a load of people and having a fun night. And yeah, since then we kind of just kept in touch. And then I had this song, Something About You, and I was like, I do not know what to do with this. So I got in touch with them and said, do you guys want to finish it? They did want to finish it, and they kind of helped me work it into what I wanted it to be, and then we released it. And that's the whole story. Yeah.
Well, it's a perfect story because that is the video I have lined up for at the end of our chat. And that music video is very meaningful as well. It went along with a campaign to raise awareness, and I think maybe even some funds for mental health awareness. Can you talk to us about
so
that?
the whole song, we really just wanted to raise awareness with mental health, specifically with men, because a disproportionate amount of men do struggle, and obviously just because of society and the way everything is kind of crammed out with human beings, a lot of men don't want to talk about things, and they really suffer because of that. And they, yeah, like I said, a disproportionate of men do commit suicide more than women, and I just wanted to raise awareness and kind of shine a light on why, and why can't we, and why can't we talk about our feelings, and yeah, I think hopefully we help change some people's minds and kind of open their eyes a little bit to what could be happening. But yeah.
Never be afraid to reach out to your friends. I too have been in situations where I was feeling really low and it was dark periods, and what always helped me too is like, you don't have to necessarily reach out to your friend and talk about what's on your mind. Yeah. Just get a friend to talk, like just talking to someone, it brings you a little bit out of that space too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that was really important to me, and that's what the song was about. But the video kind of, definitely shone a different light on it and really focusing on mental health in men. And I mean, you're going to play the video, you'll see, but it's all about this guy that goes into a self-help group, a group therapy session, and doesn't want to open up, but then everyone kind of just starts dancing, and then he's like, right, and he really doesn't want to dance, but then something clicks, it's like, just dance, man, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it does, and that's the video.
I love it. I love honestly, all these videos that we've been able to showcase on the show today they're fun. They're like good old-fashioned music videos. You want to watch them. It's not just like slap a visual or whatever. It's cool. Are you gearing up for any other singles before the album's release?
Well, there's some different versions of My House, my latest single, being released. But the next one, I cannot say when it will be. But
okay.
It will. You're gonna really like it.
Yeah. Are you on pins and needles waiting for the album to come out? Or are you just like,
I am. It's been such a long time coming, but I'm just so proud of what I've done. I'm so happy with it that, you know what, like, it's going to come out. If nobody listens and no one likes it, don't care. I love it. And honestly, I think people are going to like it.
Yeah, you and your fiance will listen to it in your house.
Exactly. We'll buy all the copies and we'll just fill up our living room with the walls of my album.
I love it. Are you even like, I guess you can't think too much about touring it yet, or are you going to use this time to prepare like the grandest tour ever?
I have been preparing because obviously there's all these new songs. I've got my set that I played live, but also I have this 11-track album that I need to kind of merge together into an amazing Elderbrook live experience.
Yes.
And, to be fair, I've been really trying to use this time to make the most of all this weird spare time that everyone has to try and sort this out.
Mm-hmm. What's the weirdest thing you've done in quarantine?
The weirdest thing I've done in quarantine is quit smoking, because I never ever thought that I'd quit smoking.
That's awesome! Congrats!
Thank you. I mean, I've got this stupid whatever it is.
The Juul thing.
I quit actual smoking, and I think that's way more harmful for you. So I have done that.
It's a step in the right direction for sure.
Exactly.
Now you just have to listen to everyone make jokes about like, oh, you're smoking a USB stick. You're like, come on, man, I'm ready. I've got my USB. Let me play the decks.
Exactly. And USB is better than lungs full of smoke. And I do need my lungs to sing, so.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Elderbrook, thank you so much for coming on my show today. You were such a pleasure to have, and Why Do We Shake in the Cold is such a fucking good album. I know it's still like about a month until it's going to come out, but I can't wait.
Yeah. I know, neither can I. And thank you so much for having me, honestly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, your Saturday evening. The weekend starts now.
It incredibly does. I mean, It started a while back for me, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, true. I know. I'll join you. Everyone cheers.
Also, what is a weekend in lockdown anyway? This doesn't exist.
It's been the weekend since March.
Isn't it? A really weird weekend where you're not allowed to leave the house. So,
I know.
anyway.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
hope we get to chat again soon, and can't wait for the album
Definitely.
to
Thank
properly
you so
come
much.
out. Thank you. Have a great day, night. Peace.